How would you like to earn an income stream that pays your rent and is a better business education yet still cheaper than a business degree? Hey, I'm Jared Krause. I'm the host of the Buying Online Businesses podcast, and in this episode, I'm speaking with Trevor, who is a Bob member who just bought his first online business. And in this podcast episode, Trevor and I talk about his journey of trying to get dropshipping websites to work for many years before deciding to go away and buy an established business. We also talk about how he nearly bit off more than he could chew due to going too hard too quick and hitting that burnout phase, and how he actually recovered from it, which is really good because most people do this when they run super fast towards a goal. They don't make the long distance. We should be thinking long distance. We should be thinking not in sprints, in macro goals. So that's a really, really cool thing to understand that we talk about in this podcast episode. We also could talk about what business he bought, why he bought that business, what he learned doing due diligence through the phase of buying a business, and how he couldn't have done it without sharpening his mindset, which is a huge part of this episode. We also talk about what advice he would give to anyone looking to earn an income online and why maybe they should buy a website as well. There's so much in this podcast episode. You guys are absolutely going to love it. Now, when you hear this podcast episode, you're going to want to go away and buy a business. Don't do this off the bat unless you have my due diligence framework. A lot of people have been raving about it. I'm giving it away to you for free. This is the framework that a lot of my clients are using to buy businesses and has helped them take the guesswork out of buying a business and decrease their risk dramatically. So to get that, go to buyingonlinebusinesses.com/free resources. Let's jump into the episode. Today's episode is brought to us by Niche Website Builders, which is a company a few of my clients are using and have used for content creation and link building services. They do everything from start to finish. So from keyword research all the way to uploading your completed article for you. We've also had Bob members buy ready-made affiliate sites built by Niche Website Builders. So if you're looking to outrank your competitors' content and build better backlinks, Niche Website Builders and I have a special deal for you. Head to nichewebsite.builders/Bob. I'll put a link in the show notes for you, but again, that's www.nichewebsite.builders/Bob. Do you want to start investing in websites but don't want to drop $20,000 or more on your first investment? Check out Odys, where you can buy premium age domains to build a website on and add Odys done for you affiliate site package to help you grow your website and get seen. Instead of buying a crummy website that's been built to sell with no authority, buy a premium domain with built-in authority, great SEO, and fresh quality content for your website. Head to odys.link/Bob podcast to check out their great deals. That's odys.link/BOB podcast. Link will be in the description too. Trevor, thanks so much for coming on and having a chat.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And congratulations. How does it feel to be online business owner?
I didn't think that I'd be having this chat with you so soon. I think it's just under the 11-month mark of me joining to me actually acquiring a business. So
yeah, cool.
On this talking about this topic instead of going over another DD.
Yeah, I know. We've done quite a few due diligence, haven't we?
Yeah, I think I counted yesterday. It was 14 or 15.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's just the ones that you submitted to me, right?
Well, I think I submitted probably a quarter of those to you. The other ones I would just run into a big problem or find something and be okay, this isn't worth it anymore. Just ditch it.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm sure everybody's super excited to hear what you've gone away and done and your success and all that sort of stuff. But I kind of want to start from the beginning, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, how did you even find out about this? You could buy websites, and what was the reason behind wanting to even get an online income stream, I guess?
Yeah. So I think it all started in college, kind of right when all those gurus started posting all those super annoying ads that were everywhere on YouTube about drop shipping.
Yeah.
And me and my friend, we kind of started trying to build up Shopify stores, do drop shipping. And I think we did something like elephant jewelry for the first store. And we did a couple and never made any money on them. except for like family or relatives. It would like give us like a pity buy. And that was kind of like the first part of it. And that's actually how I figured out that I wanted to do, because I didn't really like the whole drop shipping part of it. It felt kind of scammy at first.
Yeah.
But I did like the marketing aspect and like driving traffic to that site. There was like kind of a rush behind it.
Yeah.
So that's how I figured I wanted to do marketing after college, and ended up getting a job with one agency in LA. And then that didn't work out so well. So now I'm with another agency currently in Scottsdale. But I knew I wanted to do the technical stuff, but I haven't really had a shot at that yet. I've just been doing like project management stuff and overseeing a lot of that. So I figured the best way to get good at technical SEO was just to buy a business and try to get it myself. That way if something goes wrong, it's not at the client's expense, or it's not a client's company. It's my own fault and my own company. So that was kind of reassuring. And that was kind of my goal going into this, was to find something to really improve my technical skills.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, they say the best way to learn business is to be in business. And your story is very similar to mine, except it sounds like you've gone away and done this a bit earlier than me. I started a dropshipping business and I was the same. I knew nothing about marketing. And I was like, shit, I gotta learn how to do this online digital marketing thing. And I didn't know how to do paid ads or anything like that. And I made only a few sales trickled in, and it was nothing.
Yeah. If you don't know Facebook Business Manager and you just like wander on and log in, you're like, what am I looking at? Or
Man, I know Facebook Business Manager now very well. And I've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in Facebook ads on multiple different businesses. And it's still a nightmare. Like my Facebook ads account have been shut down. Like I've got somebody that helps me navigate it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Like, so anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic there. So you kind of were in college, like, I want to get in this online business game, right? That was your main goal, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
First, it started off with like anyone else, just to have like a side income. But then like I was able to hone in on, like I said, getting good at like the technical side of SEO.
Yeah.
And so that was easy too. I mean, that was different because I feel like a lot of people are kind of just going into it as an investment, as kind of just like, just kind of a buy and hold.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that business, like a lot of the aspects I was looking at that were for me considered opportunities, might not really be considered opportunities for other people.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it, is like you can really just make your own goals, make your own guidelines, and really stick to them.
Yeah. That's something we teach, don't we? Having the goals and the guidelines. Yeah.
Lesson, I think, right?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool that you obviously wanted to make an online income, but your main goal priority was to learn over, most people joining are wanting to replace their income and get out of their day job, right? But you actually like your day job and you just want to get better at it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's kind of an extension of my day job.
Yeah, that's cool. And so did you have any experience, like did you learn any of this online tech stuff at college, or is this like new to you? Like, did you have to sort of learn how to do the drop shipping and stuff like that?
Pretty new. I mean, we started the drop shipping like months before I graduated. So I already had like a real estate job, a commercial real estate job lined up, and then quit that. I called that off right before I graduated and just found an agency that would give me a shot. So I really only just started looking at this stuff in 2018. So yeah, I mean, and didn't know anything about SEO until probably honestly a year and a half, 2 years ago max.
Yeah. So the start of 2018, was it?
Yeah. 2018 was when I first started the drop shipping stuff. And then that was just influencer marketing, a little bit of Facebook ads. And then the first agency I worked with, that was mostly just paid ads too. And then once I looked at your course. I remember looking at your course around that time too, but not actually buying yet. And then once I figured out what SEO was, then I was like, oh, like this could all work now. Like now it's all starting to click.
The penny dropped. You're like, yeah. How did the penny drop for you? Like, talk to me about like, all right, I've spent all of 2018, all of 2019, and most of 2020. So say 2.5 years trying to make some sort of thing happen online, right? How did you get to the point where it's like, stuff this startup thing, it's not working so well, to like, oh, this buying a website thing? Like, how did you discover that? And what was the penny that dropped for you there?
Well, it was because like I said, like I wasn't on paper, I wasn't qualified enough for these agencies I was working with. I wasn't qualified enough to like get that technical position. And like I wanted it so bad, but like I also kind of freaked out because I didn't want to screw up any of the client accounts or anything like that, or go in and make a mess. And it was either on your podcast or some other podcast I was listening to where this guy was talking about SEO, and he's like, yeah, you can read everything there is to read about riding a bike, but if you don't have a bike, then you're kind of screwed. And I was like, oh, I need that bike.
Yeah. I love the quote, to know and not do is to not know. Meaning
Exactly,
you can learn all the theory, but you just don't know. Like, and it's the same with like people that read about and listen to my podcast about doing the theory around like how you can do due diligence and how you can buy a website, and they feel like they know it, but I don't know. You can probably, speak to this, that it's a huge game changer when you go from learning the lessons to I'm actually speaking to sellers and doing due diligence. Like there's no comparison there, right?
Yeah. And then from due diligence to actually buying, I think I had two like little episodes where I found one that I really liked. And the other thing was too, that like, it's so invaluable about your course. It's so like amazing about your course is you go into the mindset stuff, but not too much, just like the right amount about like, setting your standards and sticking with it. And I didn't listen to that, I guess, because the first site that I was going to buy, it was over my budget and kind of like, it was actually way out. It was almost double my budget. and it looked good, obviously, because like the more expensive the site, a lot of times the better it's going to be. That's how it's valued. And
yeah.
So I'm looking at it and I put in an offer, or I was about to put in an offer, like about to hit enter. And then all of a sudden this like rush of emotion came over me. Like, what if you lose it all? What if you take it to zero? Like, what if you lose all this money that you saved up? And then I like withdrew that and just like kind of closed my computer for a week. And then happened again where I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I put in an offer, got accepted, and I fully intended on buying the site. And then like last second, like had to talk to Empire Flippers. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like it's very financially irresponsible of me. Like I'm freaking out. I think I made up something, but yeah, it didn't go over too well with them.
Yeah. Did you burn bridges there?
I don't think so. I mean, I was really honest and transparent about it. And I was like, yeah, I just really bit off more than I could chew. Like I'm pretty financially insecure. Like I don't know if I can afford this site. And I was like, I'm a first time buyer. Like, I swear I didn't see any of these policies or any of this stuff. And they're like, okay, like we get that. You just can't unlock any businesses above your budget, which is like 30 grand as of now. So then they and they didn't really post anything under that. So it took me off Impact Flippers for the time being.
Well, I mean, it's a part of the journey. Like,
it is, yeah.
I mean, you said before you can learn things in theory, but until you do it, you just don't really know. Right. Yeah. So it's the same with the mindset stuff. All this mindset stuff that I heard, man, I went around in circles for seriously years. Mindset or hiring a mentor. I was like, hiring a mentor? What? I can learn this for free. I can watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts and learn this for free. Why would I hire somebody to help me? But that just free advice it's worth paying for the advice. It gets you results faster, obviously. I mean, if you look at you went and did 2.5 years of, I dare say you didn't go in circles. You would have learned a fair bit, but the real progress happened when you started to work with somebody. It's the same with me in many of my businesses, right? And you didn't know, like you had to go kind of through that mindset freak out phase,
Yeah. And then like after those two, I was like, I can't let this happen again. Like the next one it has to be it. Like I have to buy it. But then it also kind of like gave me a chance to like experience the emotions you're going to get when you kind of get to the point of purchasing, where you're like, okay, like take a breath, stick to your basics, like stick to your actual budget. And my goal originally was to pay rent, which rent for me in Arizona is $800 a month. And I have a roommate. So it's pretty easy to do. And so I was like, okay, I just need something with $800 a month, which gives me about like a $30,000 site, give or take. And that was the original goal. And I just strayed from it. And then like the last business I looked at, I was like, okay, just stick to your goal, like stick to that original plan of what it was. And then sure enough, got into the offer phase, started feeling the emotions. And I was like, okay, like I remember this. Like just look at the traffic again, like stick to the most basic metrics. Like look at the traffic. Where's it coming from? Is it coming from sketchy places? No. Okay. Like you're fine. Everything's good. There's nothing you're missing. Just look at the basics.
Yeah. I'm glad that you didn't buy the bigger one. It probably would have been a better business, but what happens is when we are stressed, we don't make the best decisions because we're making them based from a place of fear. And I think it's good. Like some people do the opposite, Trev. What they do is they go away and they're like, oh my God, $100,000 business. It's making $3,000 a month. This is what I'm going to be able to pay my rent. I'm going to be able to buy food. I'm not going to have to, I could work half the hours, and we build this vision and this picture of how good our life's going to be. And we end up buying it and we're like, crap, I'm in over my head.
I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I scrolled to the top of Empire Flippers and look at the $10 million sites doing $100,000 a month. And I was like, that'd be kind of cool.
It's something to aspire to though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So we'll dig into more about like the journey in a second, but like hit us with the business. Like obviously we don't share the URL and all that sort of stuff, but what type of business did you buy? And then also if you're open to sharing, how much was the business and how much is it making net per month?
Yeah. So the business I got it for pretty much on the dot, 30 grand was my budget. Tried to negotiate a little bit, didn't work out too well. And we're in an inspection period right now. And so it said it was making $983 a month, but it's looking like it's going to be a little less. So might have to I might be eligible for renegotiation, which I mean, I bought it on investors.club and didn't know a whole lot about their process, but it was great. It was really easy. Like everyone was very responsive. I think I asked one question on the chat and the CEO responded to me, Jason. And so, yeah, it was a great experience. I bought a site in a niche that I really enjoy. The numbers made sense, but then it's also something that like I've kind of been doing on the side and to definitely figure out how to add my own flair in there and bring a little passion to it and a little love.
Yeah, cool. So it's a content site then?
Yeah. Yes. And they're only monetizing by Amazon affiliate now.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you joined 11 months ago, right? So did it take you 11 months to do due diligence on how many businesses? You said like 15 or so, or did you take a break? Like, tell us about that.
There was, I hit it really hard in the beginning and I did like a 2-month streak where I was just like every site that I saw that was like waiting every Monday morning. And I'm going fast, but I knew that I wanted to buy from Empire Flippers at first, very reputable brokers. So pretty much every Monday, as long as a site came along that was within my price range, I was going to do due diligence on it, no matter what niche it was in. And that helped me like really kind of be able to cull through sites and realize what was worth my time and what wasn't. And then you kind of start like figuring out, okay, like you can kind of jump around your due diligence sheet after you've done like 5 or 6 and be like, okay, like let me start with a backlink audit and see if that's good and then proceed from there. Or let me start with Google Analytics and look at their traffic sources. And if that's worth it, then I'll go into their revenue and all that stuff. So it got easier as time went on, but then I think I did take a pretty long little break for a while. During the holidays, because everything kind of really slowed down. And once it picked up, I realized that I needed some more money. So just that was kind of the lighting the fire under my tail that kept me going.
Yeah, cool. So talk to me, like what do you think was the toughest part of the whole journey?
Definitely actually buying the website was for me the hardest for sure. Cause I'm only 25. So it's like, coughing up 30 grand is a pretty big chunk of change. And it's like, of course I could tell myself, I'm young. I have time to financially recover, but at the same time, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have really a database to go back to. Like I just started my career 2 years ago. So I don't really have times where I've like lost money and then like saved it back up. It's like, this was it.
Yeah.
So just buying and like experiencing the emotions and like the voices in your head trying to come at you and the little devil on your shoulder. That was definitely the hardest part.
And so that's the mindset thing, right? Of like, and you already went through it. You already went through some of that, like processing on the bigger business that you're looking at purchasing.
Yeah.
You know, like if you hadn't have gone through some of that processing on the bigger one, maybe it didn't, you wouldn't have got across the line with this 30K business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The mindset's huge. I think the mindset is really, really critical to learn and lean into. There's a 4-part mindset series. I don't know if you listened to that on the podcast.
I have.
Yeah. Did you think that helped?
Oh yeah, a lot. I mean, it was getting to a point where like I was getting so close to putting an offer on like a few businesses that your podcasts were almost kind of like I was almost a junkie sort of for your podcast. Like I'd be about to put an offer in and then feel the thoughts come up and then be like, okay, one more podcast. And then I'll look at this one. I'm crutch at that point. I was like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're spending a lot of time doing the due diligence, but to get to that point where you're like, all right, I'm going to pull the trigger. People don't get that. All that build up of the mindset work that you've done and the study that you've done on it amounts to this like one decision that you have to make, right?
Yeah.
Like
one thing that really resonated with me too is when you were talking about like the risk reward and how it's like you think of like the worst case scenario.
Yes.
Which, you know, like say I have the site and over time I tank it to nothing, like absolute worst case scenario. Well, if you look back at like my goals and the reason I wanted an online business was to learn technical SEO, it's like I'm probably still going to walk out of there with a pretty good skill set. So even like the worst case scenario is kind of like leading me toward that goal that I wanted.
It's also, and this could be a very general statement, but it could also be a better education in business than studying business, but also still cheaper for 30 grand.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Someone was on your podcast too saying like sometimes the best way to learn is to buy like a $5,000 website and just tank it.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh.
It's still $5,000. Like it still takes a bit to save it up depending on you know, your situation. And we have people in the community that come away and they buy, I'm just going to buy something for $5,000, $10,000, sort of test it out and sort of get to know how much work it is. They don't really like, there's a lot more work in a $10,000 business than like $1 million business, like a lot more work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then like, it's funny because like, I mean, looking at it now too, like I had all these thoughts. Now looking at the site, it's like, oh, like I understand what's going on now. Like now that I actually can look at everything, like the back end of WordPress, and now I have access to Google Search Console, like admin access to Google Analytics. I'm like, okay, there really was nothing to really worry about.
Yeah. Let me ask you about that. Like since you learned about Google Analytics and backlink auditing and content auditing and all this sort of stuff, and you would have learned so much about SEO just in the due diligence.
Yeah.
Was that a really good, like that period of say 11 months, was that a really good period of education just doing the due diligence alone?
It was invaluable for sure. I mean, I don't know if that's the right word, but it was amazing. It was that due diligence helped me so much, like actually with my job too, and just like going through and breaking everything down. Yeah. And they kind of complemented each other because like part of my job when I was doing like more of the sales side of SEO, I had to like compile all these massive audits for these companies, just saying like, oh, you know, like you're not utilizing your H1s aren't optimized, your metadata is not optimized, your page speed's not optimized. So they kind of went hand in hand. Like I could take some of the stuff from your due diligence and bring it into my work, and then take some of the stuff from my work and bring it into the due diligence framework. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great. So what a journey. Like, I'm glad that everything has unfolded the way it has for you, because you've put yourself under pressure and you've learned some pretty tough lessons on that bigger one that you nearly bought, which set you up for this next one. And maybe you wanted to go in too hot and too heavy too quick, which is my biggest downfall with almost everything I do in life.
And I've learned from that now. Slow and steady really has won the race for me. As much as I want to go away and stuff things up by getting it, getting that result faster. But it's that I can see that you've learned a lot of the lessons that I've learned through trying to make it happen and get it done quicker. So through that whole experience, what would you say, even from just like you starting a dropshipping business, you're learning about marketing, you're learning about SEO from like 2018 to like now, for somebody that's thinking, like, what advice would you give to somebody that is thinking about going away and making money online or even just buying a website?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. I mean, there really is like that quote that I said, that's just been ringing in my head for the last like couple months. It's just like, you can read everything there is about how to ride a bike, but if you don't have a bike, you're kind of screwed. So I remember I have like a 30-page document on Google Docs about just like SEO notes. And it's like, I don't open it. I don't look at that. I mean, I felt like I was doing something at the time, and I probably did retain a little bit of that. But at the end of the day, like, I thought I had a grasp, and now like having this actual functional revenue generating business in front of my eyes, you're kind of like, oh God, okay, where do I start now? Like you kind of expected like, okay, I have 30 pages of notes. So I'll just click. I should know exactly what to do. And you're just staring at this blank screen like, okay, so where do I start?
Yeah.
So I think the best advice I can give is just get into it. Like either if you're going to work with an agency to learn marketing, find someone that'll give you a shot at the technical side of things. Otherwise, put yourself in that position to actually own a business and a little online content site and learn the technical stuff yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I agree. At least knowing how it works in your own business and seeing it is hugely beneficial, at least to oversee somebody that's going to do the work for you. And so from the experience of buying a site, because you've had 11-month period of like going through some highs and some lows, and I'm glad that you came out of those lows and through the back of it. Now, what advice would you give to somebody who's looking at buying a site, like through the buying process, like through all of it?
Yeah. So the things that really got me through were sticking to your basics, like your main goals. For instance, mine, like I said, was I just want something that's going to cover my rent. Yeah. $800 a month. That's it. And so stick with your basics. And then when you kind of get to that inevitable point where you start overthinking things like, did I miss something on due diligence? Does he know something I don't know? Just look at the most basic metrics, because that'll tell you the most. Like, look at where the traffic's coming from. Make sure there's no you don't have to know every single backlink. It's pretty much impossible to do a full backlink audit unless you have like an insane tool. So just do a quick perusal on your backlinks. Make sure there's nothing crazy on there that you think is really spammy. And look at your keywords and are they generating traffic? And that's pretty much it. You just got to stick to your basic metrics, and that'll tell you a lot. And then stick to your basic goals.
I love it. Stick to your goals, stick to your basic metrics. Don't go overboard.
Yeah.
Trevor, thanks so much for coming on. This has been hugely valuable for people that want to go away and just earn an income online, not even just buy a business. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you, Jared. Couldn't have done it without you.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. So everybody that is listening, thank you for listening. That's it for this show. Before you go, I want you to think of at least 2 to 3 people that are like, God damn, I got to get rid of this job. Or I want to get out of college and make an income online. Share this podcast episode with them, because there's so much to learn through Trevor's experience. All the little things that he said, like going in too hot and too heavy on a big business, the mindset, learning about riding a bike to actually having a bike to ride. There's so many golden nuggets for this conversation. So share this podcast episode with those people that you know that are wanting to make an income online. That'd be hugely beneficial. Yes, to grow the podcast, of course, but also to them. So thank you so much for listening, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, Trevor, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate having a chat with you guys. If you want to buy an online business to earn a passive income, just like Trevor has done, come check out the Buying Online Business community, where we've been seeing people buy businesses nearly every single week now. So it's super inspiring and it's really cool to just be a part of. So if you want to ditch that day job and earn an income online, check out buyingonlinebusinesses.com. Click the community tab and you can see what it's all about. Speak to you soon. Bye. Hey YouTube watcher, if you thought that video was good, you should check out this video here on the 2 best types of websites beginners should buy. Or check out my playlist
on how I made my first 100K from buying websites and how to do due diligence. Check it out. It's an awesome playlist. You'll enjoy it.